Hey guys, how you going? This is BillyEatWorld again, and today we're going to take a quick look at one of the most popular sniper rifles in the game, the Russian 1895. Or should I say the Winchester 1895, which is actually a US gun and one of the most well-known lever-action rifles ever made. But why is it called the Russian 1895? Well, basically it's because around 70% of all of them ever made were made for the armies of the Russian Empire. And not just that, as you've probably noticed from other guns in-game, sometimes DICE don't use the original brand name because of a bunch of licensing reasons. Also, one last thing before we start, I should point out that in this particular video we're only going to be looking at the infantry and the sniper variants. And that's because the other two variants, the 1895 Trench and the 1895 Cavalry, have both got very different stats. In fact, even though they look similar, they work completely differently and probably should really be considered entirely different guns. And so if you're a fan of either of these variants, well, I'm sorry I won't get a chance to cover them today, but I promise just for you, I'll come back and take a look at them another time. Now to kick off, in terms of stats, well, the 1895 fires at 56 RPM and deals 80 damage at all ranges except for in its sweet spot. And speaking of its sweet spot, well, it's actually pretty decent for mid to long range targets because it stretches out from around 40 to 140 meters. What that basically means is that this gun is only going to need a maximum of 2 shots to kill anyone at any range. And in a lot of cases, you'll even be able to get a guaranteed 1-hit kill from around 60 to 100 meters, or if you manage to land a headshot. At the end of the day though, just about every sniper rifle in BF1 has this kind of stat line, so for the most part what it's really going to come down to is the little differences. Like for example the fact that the 1895 has a muzzle velocity of 820 meters per second, which is actually the second highest in the category under the G98. Probably the most interesting difference though is that the sniper variant has got a standing hipfire spread of 1.25, or half that of just about every other sniper rifle. And not just that, this variant for some reason has got exceptional recoil compared to all of the other guns in the category, with a vertical kick of 0.4 and a balanced horizontal pull of 0.1. Now, bearing all of that in mind, it's pretty obvious the 1895 infantry is going to be good and that the sniper variant is going to be one of the best guns in the game. But the question is, how good are they really? Because quite often when it comes to sniper rifle stats, you're usually looking for one extreme or the other. Well, to break it down, at long range compared to the G98 or the M1903, the 1895 does have slightly more bullet drop and a shorter sweet spot. Whereas on the other hand, compared to the SMLE, it's also got 5 less rounds in the magazine, which is really going to make a difference in close quarters. In saying that though, the thing is currently in BF1, sniper rifles are pretty busted in general. And so to be honest, although I did find long range sniping a little bit harder with this gun, as you can see from these clips, it wasn't like I was actually struggling. So basically what that means is that unlike say in BF4, it's probably not so necessary to make sure you're using the right sniper rifle for a particular range. And by that logic, an all-rounder gun like the 1895 is actually probably going to be a very smart choice because it's good enough and that's all you really need. Now to finish up, my top tips for this gun would be, well, number one, you probably want to be using the sniper variant, which isn't to say that the infantry variant isn't good as well, it's just that why bother when you can use something better like the SMLE. So by that logic, you probably also don't want to be using the bayonet on this gun because as far as I know, they increase recoil and ADS speed. And considering you should be aiming to keep your targets at a distance anyway, then it's not really worth taking this disadvantage because you probably won't get the chance to use it. But finally, the last thing I want to point out is that even though this gun's hipfire is pretty good, you definitely still want to rely on your pistol. Because even if you do manage to land a shot from the hip, it's still not going to kill your target in one hit anyway, and that's more than likely going to get you killed. And just on that note, like you can see in this video, unless you're shooting at moving targets, you always consciously want to be going for headshots. Or better yet, just aim to keep your targets in that 60 to 100 meter sweet spot and sit back and laugh while you completely destroy everyone. But anyway, guys, I think that just about brings you up to speed with the Russian 1895. So let me know what you think of this gun in the comment section below. And as always, if you like what you see, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, check out the links in the description below if you want to see any more of my videos, or if you want to support my channel on Patreon. And until next time, see you later, and have a good one.